So yesterday I totally forgot to tell you guys. I remember I mentioned about a year or two prior to my accident, I had this friend who I was at a festival, and while we were at the festival, he introduced me to his dad. I know my hat's all crooked. I don't care. Anyways, so when his dad pulled up, he was in a chair. And I remember I didn't know what that meant. I never met anybody paralyzed before. I don't think I've ever learned anything about people being paralyzed or seen any movies or shows or anything to understand what that meant. This man sitting. Um, but when I was in the hospital, my friend had reached out to me and told me that his dad wanted to come see me. Didn't know why. I remember meeting the man briefly. I can't remember if I knew his mom at this point, but I do remember, like I said, he called me one day and asked if his dad could come see me in the hospital. And like I said earlier in a previous video, you never know who anybody is. I met a lot of people in my life who were like big influences, and this man is a big influence, and you'll see why. So I agreed for the man to come meet me at Shriners, and it's mind blowing. There's a lot of people who came to see me at Shriners. Like I forgot to mention my teacher, and I'll get into that after I tell you about this man's father. So I remember they came down to the hospital, and he rose up in his wheelchair, and I'm just mind blown because this dude, he just like when I first met him, he just looks like a normal guy, just sitting in a chair. He just can't stand. So I'm looking at this guy, checking him out, trying to learn. And well, first we visited with each other, me and my friends. This guy I'm telling you about, he was real close with my cousin, so he brought my cousin. So I was chilling with him and my cousin for a little bit, and then when it when after like an hour of chilling with my cousin and my friend, his dad came up to me and was like, "I want to talk to you privately and stuff like that." And he just started telling me all types of stuff about his life, how he was injured as a grown man. And it's crazy. I think he's the one that put it in perspective for me that it was good. And at first, I didn't understand him when he said that it was good that I got injured at a young age, because I'm looking at this man like, how is it okay that I'm injured at all? But like I said earlier, I did pray to God to slow me down. So I was like, does this man know who I was or have an idea of? Anyway, so the man started breaking things down that he was grown when he was injured, and it affected him way more than he thinks it would affect me. And I asked him, I said, why do you think I'll be less affected than you? And I'll never forget the way he broke it down. He was like, because you got to understand, I was used to taking care of myself, taking care of my family, going to work. And another mind blowing thing is he used to take care of people with special needs. So he was like, you have to understand, I used to take care of people who needed help, and now I'm the one who needs help. It was hard for me to deal with. And he just broke down how he was angry. And that's why I don't think I was angry when I first got injured, because when I heard his story, I was like, well, I'm not doing none of that thing, none of those things. Like I said, I wasn't injured as a grown man. Uh, so I can't relate to this part, but you got to only imagine you've been taking care of yourself, you've been independent your whole life. You're used to, especially if you're someone like how I am. I love being independent, not asking nobody for help. So I can only imagine if I've been doing that for 20 something, 30 years. I can't remember how old he was when he was injured. And all of a sudden, you got to ask people for things. And when he was first injured, I guess he had to use dependence, because he had to get to know his body. So sometimes, when we're getting to know our bodies, we don't know what we can eat, what we can't eat, uh, what we can drink, cannot drink. Like, for example, I remember when I first got injured, I drank a cappuccino. That thing went right through me both ways. Uh, I had a little spot in the front, spot in the back. So I was like, I can never drink a cappuccino because I'm not trying to, let it go through me like that. And I hate having accidents. So, he was explaining to me when he would have an accident, he wouldn't even want to shower, and he had a beautiful um girlfriend at the time, and she didn't give up on him. Thank God for, like I said, you never know who you're with or the angels that are around you. And she was an angel for him, because when he tried giving up, she wouldn't let him. When he would have an accident, he didn't want to get in the shower, she would force him to shower. When he'll be in the shower, he told me, he'll be like, I don't know why you're doing this. It's probably going to happen again. And she'll be like, she would try to toughen him up and try to put it in his mind to stop thinking like that, to not give up. Like, you could live. You just have to understand this is the rest of your life, and to stop being so negative. And I don't know when it clicked in his brain, but it clicked in his brain that she was right. And he ended up getting, his disability. He ended up getting an apartment that was accessible. He ended up getting a car modified so he could drive it. And I believe when he started doing these things, he started realizing that she was right, that he could live on his own. And I guess he didn't want me to go through that. So he asked me if I ever want to go to his house. And like I said, the hospital, this hospital I was at was not a regular hospital. It was an amazing place. And they used to let us go home on the weekends, especially if you know how to take care of yourself, or if they know you got someone to take care of you and they trust you and they let you go for a day and they already seen you did it. They do it a couple of times just to be on the safe side. So I was able to go home on weekends, and he knew that. And he was like, man, before you discharge, you got to come see how I live. You got to get an idea of it. And it's crazy how wise people are, because I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm like, why? And I didn't know how much I needed this. So it was a weekend visit. We go home. I'm at my grandfather's house because he was allowing us to stay with him. So when we would go home on the weekends, we would just stay at his house. And I remember I'm at his house, and my best friend pulls up, and I'll never forget, his dad was driving. And his dad wanted me to see from A to Z how he could be independent, from picking us up to dropping us off, which was amazing. So I remember my best friend and my cousin, my cousin came with us. My mom came with us. I remember they took took me down the stairs. And I'm looking at this guy like, how the hell is he in the driver? Like, how did he, I never seen controls before. I didn't know paralyzed people could do things like that. We could drive. So when I seen this dude in the driver's seat, I'm like, thinking how my dad used to let us drive. I used to sit on his lap and he would control the pedals. I'm looking at his girl on the passenger, like, is she leaning over, doing her feet, the pedal and the brake or whatnot? But nope, this man had his son bring me to the driver's side. They opened the door. He explained to me the parts. He showed me how when he pulls up, it goes to drive. When he pushes down, it goes to brake. He had a little thing on the steering wheel so he could turn it easier. And I'm like, yo, is this man really about to drive us to his house? I was terrified. Like, I wouldn't trust me driving nobody. And I know if somebody got in the car with me, if they looked at me funny, I ain't even gonna blame them. So, and my best friend was like, bro, we're being weird, bro. Like, we got here from him driving us. And I'm like, I guess I'm about to experience this. So this man drives us to his house, and he didn't live close. He lived in a nice area. I'm like, how does a man in a wheelchair afford this? And I'm like, how is he going to get out of this truck by himself? Sure enough, the only help he needed, which I don't even think he needed the help. So I forgot how he was able to grab the wheelchair from the back, put it out where he was at, outside of the driver's seat. He locked the chair, and he just got in that chair from the driver's seat of the truck. And I'm like, yo, this man could drive. He can get himself in and out the truck. And then he, opened the garage. And that's how he got into his house, from the door inside the garage, I believe. So the garage opens, we roll in, we get inside this house, and it's all accessible. So everything is flat. And I remember I never had an accessible experience besides Shriners, this hospital I was at. So I'm rolling around this man's house. He's showing me his bathroom, the living room, the bedrooms. He had a dining room, and then he showed me how his bathroom was modified so he could shower and use the bathroom on his own. Which he was like, I'm going to show you how I do that so you can get an idea of that. And I was like, cool. And then he was having a party that night. I guess he used to like partying on the weekends, celebrating. I don't know, who knows. But I will never forget. So I haven't drunk or smoked, which I was a smoker before my accident. And I remember they had liquor, and I remember, I don't know if we smoked or not, but we were for sure drinking. And I remember my friends, thank God, my cousin learned how to take care of me. This was before, so I remember my mom had asked me if I would ever have anybody who was willing to take care of me, or if I would have friends that would want to be around me. And I remember I said, yeah, I have three people. I knew my cousin would learn. I had a best friend who I thought would learn, and the third person. And all three people I was right about. And my cousin and this guy were my cousin and his best friend. And so when I was with these two guys, I was like, I knew these guys would hold me down. And so I remember we were having fun the whole time. We were drinking. They used to love music, so they were making beats. They had a little studio. So I remember making beats, and it was just an amazing time. And I'm like, wow, I had an idea that I could I could live a life in a chair. I just need some help, some people that will be willing to help me. And sure enough, my mom was supposed to be helping me go pee or whatever. And she was nowhere to be found. You guys will learn some about her throughout this story. Anyway, so I couldn't find my mom. And my cousin always told me, like, yo, cuz, and my best friend always told me too, like, hey, I know my dad has to use the bathroom a certain way, and I didn't tell them yeah yet. And my best friend was like, hey, bro, if you need to use the bathroom, I know my dad uses the bathroom a certain way, and I see your hands and your fingers, and I realize that you probably can't help yourself use the bathroom. So if you need to, it's not gay. Let me know. I don't want you to die, which could happen if I don't use the bathroom on time. I mean, it won't happen quickly, but anyway, so that night came. I forgot how I used the bathroom. I think my mom helped me use the bathroom before she left. So, but for sure, when I woke up in that morning, I'll never forget, man. We're all in no homo. We're all in the bed together in the man's bed, and I'm sleeping. The guy's sleeping. His son is sleeping, and my cousin is at our feet, I believe. And I remember I woke up to have to go pee, and I was like, damn, my mom's nowhere to be found. I mean, I'm in this bed, and she's not around me. And I knew I was gonna have to ask to use the bathroom. So I woke up. I forgot if it was my best friend or my cousin. And I'm like, yo, can you go find my mom? And they went to go look around, and sure enough, she was nowhere to be found. And their dad started waking up. And this man is a funny dude, man. That's why it was hard for me to hear that he was angry when he first got injured, because this man was just freaking hilarious. And I remember when we all started waking up, and his son came back into the room, was like, hey, man, your mom's nowhere to be found. And I was like, hey, bro, remember last night when you was all drunk? I don't know if we were drunk talking, when you said that you would help me and things like that. And he got serious, and he was like, no, I was being for real. Did you need me to help you? And I remember I was terrified, because at this time, the only people that were seeing me in this situation was nurses, my mom, family, not a friend, not somebody my age. I didn't want him no weird things. I didn't want him to see my penis and make fun of me. Oh, you know how guys are anyway. So, but his dad started joking. Was like, hey man, you gotta pee. You better hurry up, and not piss on my bed. You know what I mean? You better have my son help you. And he said it jokingly, and I remember I just lost it. It was hilarious. So my best friend helped me use the bathroom, and I was like, wow. And then that's when my cousin, he woke up, and when he saw that, he was like, yo, cuz, if you ever need to use the bathroom, no, you can ask me too. And oh man, my cousin messed up when he said that. We'll get into that later. Anyway, so when they helped me use the bathroom, the dude, like I said, he wanted to show me how he lived. So the dude was like, all right, now I'm gonna show you how I get ready for the day. And he used to use the bathroom in the morning. What I mean, like take a poop, and then he would shower. And I remember I was like, yo, man, now that's curious. I'm curious how he does. Of course, we didn't watch the man poop. He went into the bathroom. He showed me this chair above the toilet. He said, all right, I'm gonna give you an idea, then y'all got to get out. So he showed us a chair. Of course, he had a towel wrapped around him. And he was like, so what I do is I park my chair next to the toilet. I get in, I use it, as soon as I'm done, I put a pad on my wheelchair because I don't want no poop on my chair. So once I put the pad on my chair and I'm done using the bathroom, I get on my chair, I roll to the tub, and he had a chair in his tub. He was like, and then once I'm done using the bathroom, I go on my chair, I roll to the tub, and then I transfer myself onto the shower, and then I shower, and then once I'm done showering, I get back to my chair, and then I get dressed. And I remember I was like, yo, this dude has it down pat. And I remember after he explained it, we left to the living room, and after 45 minutes to an hour, this man comes welling out fresh, wet. And I'm like, yo, this man could really take care of himself. And I'm like, does anybody live with you? And he's like, no, I live alone. He had a car in the driveway. That car, he just took the stuff from if he was using his girlfriend's truck or the girl's truck, he would put it in her truck. If not, it would go back into his car so he could drive either the truck or the car. And another story I got to tell y'all real quick. So my cousin and my best friend, man, especially my cousin, he's always been a little douchebag, and he's gonna know that I'm talking about him when he listens to this. But what I mean by douchebag, like he was always the cousin that didn't, like, I don't know how to explain it. Let me give you an example. So if I got suspended from school, I'll ask my boys, like, you think my mom is gonna fuck me up or beat me up bad? And they're like, nah, she'll probably be a little tipsy, and when you get home, she'll probably forget, hopefully, just they'll try to comfort me, basically. Man, if I ask my cousin, yo, you think my mom's gonna beat my ass? Man, the enemy's gonna whoop your ass, bro. She's waiting for you right now. She's thinking about how she's gonna do it. She's gonna have you drop your drawers so she can get to them cheeks. You know what I mean? Like, or another example, I remember I asked my boys, like, you think I can holler at that girl? You think that I got a chance with that girl? Yeah, bro, you know what I'm saying? Just go up to the girl, talk to her and da-da-da. If I ask my cousin, yo, you think I can get that girl? Nah, because you ugly as hell. You can't pull that girl. She fine. She's out of your league, da-da-da. He's that type of cousin. So, and his best friend, which is my semi-best friend at the time, more of his best friend, but they were goofy people. They were funny guys. Yo, this man, my best friend's dad lived like on top of a hill. And I remember I'm looking at the bottom of the hill and my boys, we're drinking. This is that night that the party was just beginning. And we had a few shots in us, or I know I did. Man, why did my cousin and his best friend, my best friend, they go, yo, we should take you to the top of the hill and we should let you go. And I'm like, what? And I'm looking at how high the hill is. And I'm like, man, that's a far ass drop. And I used to love roller coasters. And I'm like, man, I'm probably not going to be able to get in roller coasters anymore, And I don't know why, but it started to sound like a good idea. They started talking me into it. My cousin was like, don't worry, I'm going to run behind you as fast as I can. And if you start to swerve or whatever, I'm going to grab you and strain you out. Ain't nothing going to happen to you. So I said, okay, let's do it. So, and I'm going to end this here. So they take me to the top of this hill, which was highest, like very high, and they let go. And at first I was having fun until I got like to the middle and I started to swerve this way. When I started to swerve this way, all I saw in front of me was a curve. And when I started to do I was able to think about the future. I was like, wait a minute. As fast as I'm going, if I hit that curve, I'm going to hit the curve and just fly out. I'm already paralyzed. I was like, if I end up with any scratches or black eyes or end up way worse than I am, I'm never going to be able to go anywhere. I'm probably going to, and then I don't want to die or whatever, So I'm like, oh man, how am I going to stop this? And then my punk ass cousin, he was trying to catch up, but he couldn't catch up in time. So when I turned around and saw how far he was, and I saw I was about to hit this curve because I'm turning this way, I'll never forget. And I still have a scar. You can't see it. Or yeah, you can, right there. So it was bigger though. Imagine this whole thing just burned because I wasn't going out like that. So I just remember something told me, put your arms down on the wheels. And I just remember putting my arms down on the wheels, and I can't feel most of my arms. Thank God sometimes. And when I did that, I just remember just all this scratchy. But I was like, I'm not going out like that. And I was able to slow myself down quick enough or enough to where my cousin was able to catch up, say sorry, I don't know how many times, and I still have a scar to this day. But tomorrow I'm gonna get into more about before I left. Because like I said, I just jumped from A to discharge. And like I said, I want to tell a little bit of stories of what I went through before I was fully discharged. And I'll get into more tomorrow.